Hi everyone, welcome again to our science discussion, and we will be talking about this week module, and we will be discussing everything na nasa module ninyo for you to understand more about it. So for this week, we still have, or we will still going to talk about the plate tectonics. And to be specific, um, we will be talking about the seismic waves. Okay, this module is divided into two lessons. First, the seismic waves, their characteristics and their speed, and then the different kind of waves. And the second one is the earthquake epicenter. Okay, so as we study this module, of course, we need to first recall the characteristics of seismic waves in terms of their speed and their characteristics and how do they behave. Okay? And then the second one is we need to locate the earthquake epicenter using the triangulation method. Okay? So, we need to figure out kung paano din nalalaman ang epicenter every time na lumilindol. Okay? So, first things first, let's have the definition of the seismic waves first. So seismic wave is or waves that are low frequency that travel through the earth. They are generally caused by an earthquake, explosion, or volcano or volcanic eruption. Seismic waves are studied by seismologists and detected using seismometers. Okay? So these waves are described using a number on a Richter scale. Okay? So that is how they figure out yung lindol or kung paano nalalaman yung magnitude, paano nalalaman kung gaano kalakas, okay, they are using seismogram. Okay? So, because of their high energy, earthquake waves are definitely the most damaging and dramatic. Okay? So, of course, kung i-compare natin yan sa bagyo, sa sunog, or any other incident that may happen dito sa Earth, earthquake is the most damaging. Okay? It may break apart. It may also makapag-destroy ng mga building or ng mga mountain ridges. Maraming kayang gawin ang earthquake na pwedeng makasira sa buong mundo. Okay. So, we will be talking about the different type of waves. So, in that way, we will be able to know kung anong wave yung nararanasan natin sa interior at sa surface. So, let's have this one. Okay, so we have the types of seismic waves. So, it is divided, or seismic wave is divided into two. We have the body waves and the surface wave. For the body waves, we have here the longitudinal or primary waves, while the S wave or the transverse secondary waves. While the surface wave, we have here the Rayleigh wave and the Love wave. So ano bang pinagkaiba ni body wave at ni surface wave? Si body wave, siya yung na-experience natin sa Earth's interior. Okay? So, siya yung gumagalaw or yung nararanasan sa layers of the Earth every time na lumilindol. While the surface wave, yun yung nararanasan natin in the surface of the Earth or tayo mismo, pwede nating maramdaman yun. Okay? So, let's have the types of body wave. First, we have the P waves and the S wave. First thing you feel when an earthquake happens is the P wave or primary wave. The primary wave moves faster and arrives first. It is a longitudinal wave. P waves cause relatively minor damage. So, ibig sabihin, si P wave, mabilis ang galaw niya. Mabilis at longitudinal. But the damage that may affect is very minor lang. Okay? So, hindi naman ganun kalala yung nararanasang damage niya. Okay? Or binibigay niyang damage. Then the next one is the S wave or secondary wave. The S wave is pretty much the exact opposite of the P wave. it's transverse, it's slow-moving, but it causes far more damage. Ibig sabihin, ang opposite ni P wave ay si S wave. So, ang movement ni P wave ang movement ni S wave ay transverse at ito din ay mabagal. Pero ang damage niya ay mas matindi. Okay? Or mas marami siyang nadadamage. So this is the picture of the P wave and the S wave. So P wave, longitudinal ang movement at mabilis. So pag ganyan yung galaw niya, pahaba. Okay? So waves are traveling this way. While the S wave is like this. So ganyan ang galaw niya. Okay, literal na parang S. But again, the meaning of S here is secondary. Okay? Let's move on. So, after we're done with, by the way this is the body wave. Ibig sabihin, sa Earth's interior siya nararanasan. And then the next one, we have the surface wave. So, for the surface wave, we also have two, love waves and Rayleigh waves. Love waves cause by far the most damage of any kind of seismic wave. Siya yung pinakamalakas. Okay, wow, love. And love waves are faster and larger in amplitude. Ibig sabihin, malaki yung naabot niyang damage or pinsala than Rayleigh rather, which is why they arrive first. And because of their shearing nature, they cause the Earth to split as it's pulled in multiple directions at once. Sabihin, yung galaw ni love waves, pakalat. Okay? Pakalat at malakas. While the Rayleigh waves are the last to arrive. They are the slowest kind of seismic wave, but still, they can give a lot of damage. The frequency of that is the frequency of Rayleigh waves. Okay? So now let me show you also the movement. So this is the movement of the Rayleigh wave, and this one is the love wave. So yan, parang halos masira ng structure dito. Kasi kalat-kalat ang direction ni love wave. Okay, while si Rayleigh wave, parang siyang si S wave lang. Okay? And slow din yung movement niya. Okay, so parang si S wave din. So, again, let's go back to the two types of body waves, the P waves and the S wave. So, if we're going to compare again, P wave and S wave, so S wave, sa P wave muna, ulitin natin, it's longitudinal wave, meaning it vibrates the ground parallel to the direction of motion. It basically shakes the ground. So we are talking about the body wave. So it shakes the ground up and down or side to side. Despite having the highest frequency, the number of vibration per second caused relatively minor damage. Okay, so ang movement niya, up and down and then side to side. Yun ang movement ni P wave. While the S wave, it can be sizable and have a big impact on your health. So sa health naman yung affected. The S wave is pretty much the exact opposite of the P wave. It's transverse. The vibration is 90 degrees to the direction of motion. It's slow, but it causes far more damage. Okay? So, slow, pero maraming pinsala pa din. So, when an earthquake occurs, the shock waves of release energy that shake the earth are called seismic waves. From the Greek, seismos, meaning earthquake. So, pag lumilindol pala, you may call it seismos or seismic wave. Seismic waves are usually generated by movements of the Earth's tectonic plates. So, pwede nating sabihin na kapag lumilindol, the Earth's tectonic plates or the Earth plates are moving. Okay? Doon natin pwedeng sabihin lumilindol. But they may also cause explosion, volcanoes, and landslide. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, kapag na-trigger yung lupa or yung Earth's interior, it may cause explosion, volcanoes, and landslide. Kasi nga, kapag gumalaw yung ilalim ng lupa, affected tayong mga nasa ibabaw. Kaya nagkakaroon ng landslide, Pwede pa magkaroon ng tsunami and other things. Okay? There are two kinds of seismic waves. Body waves, which travel through the Earth's surface, and surface waves, which travel on Earth's surface. Body waves are further classified as primary, or P waves, which are longitudinal waves that move fast. S waves or secondary waves are transverse waves that move slowly. Okay, so ulitin natin, meron tayong dalawang uri ng seismic wave. Yung una, yung nararanasan natin sa Earth's interior, which is the body wave, at sa Earth's surface, surface waves. Okay, sa ibabaw ng mundo. So that is for the seismic wave. Now let's move on with lesson number 2. Kapag lumindol na, okay, or kapag nangyari na yung event na yun. So, how do we locate the epicenter of Earth? So, we have here the triangulation or the triangulation method. Okay, so finding an Earth epicenter using triangulation method, first, we need to have seismogram. Ito yung seismogram. Okay, so ito yung nagpapakita or siya yung nagpapatunay kung gaano kalakas ang lindol. Okay, so syempre, pag mas mahaba linya niyan, sabihin, mas malakas ang lindol. Okay, pag very minimal naman, which is normal na ikot ng mundo, okay, so ganyan lang. Pero kapag lumilindol na, yan, malakas na yung galaw niya. Again, we call this as seismogram. Yan yung ginagamit ng mga scientists, okay, or seismic scientists, okay? No. So what are the procedure for locating an epicenter? And it has at least 3 steps. First, scientists find the difference between the arrival time of the primary and the secondary waves at each of the 3 stations. Ibig sabihin, they need to list down first the time of arrival ng primary wave. Sabihin, the moment na naranasan na yung lindol, kailangan nang i-jot down yung arrival time. Okay? Arrival times of primary and secondary waves at each of the 3 stations. So, kailangan ng 3 station ng seismogram. Okay? The difference is used to determine the distance of the epicenter from each station. The greater the difference in time, the farther away the epicenter. So, ang pinakamahalaga dito ay yung oras. Okay? Oras ng dating ng primary and secondary waves. Kasi doon natin malalaman kung papaano makukuha ang epicenter. Di ba, most of the time, kapag lumilindol at nanood tayo ng balita, madalas binabanggit, halimbawa, ang epicenter ng naging lindol nitong nagdaang oras ay sa ganitong lugar. Okay? Doon binabanggit. Kasi nakukuha agad nila yung arrival time ng primary wave at ng secondary wave, and they just need to subtract it so that they may find the time difference. Okay? So, find difference, para makuha ang time difference, kailangan isubtract ang arrival time ng primary at ng secondary wave. Okay? And by that time, makikita yung distance ng epicenter. I'm going to show it to you later. A circle is drawn around each station with a radius corresponding to the epicenter's distance from that station. The point where the 3 circles meet is the epicenter. So, paano? So, halimbawa, ganito. You need 3 recording stations to find the location of the earthquake epicenter. So, kailangan natin ng 3 recording station. Halimbawa, sa part na to, may recording station dito, B and C. Okay? A single recording station can only calculate distance. So, this is from letter A, yung pabilog na yan, ito yung radius. Okay? If 2 earthquake stations are used, the 2 circles will meet at 2 points. Data from a 3rd recording station is needed to eliminate one of these points. So, kailangan ng 3 station, and from the radius, yung distance, doon, kapag nagkatagpo na yung 3 bilog, ito yung epicenter. Okay? So, again, earthquake epicenter require 3 recording station to localize. So, ibig sabihin, kung wala kang tatlong station, hindi mo mahanap yung epicenter. Okay, so balik tayo dito. So, we have here example of finding an epicenter. Seismograms provide data used to find an earthquake's epicenter. So, gumamit tayo ng seismogram. Ito yung seismogram na tinatawag. So, ang question dyan, ma'am, paano po malalaman kung anong oras darating? Ibig sabihin ba may nagbabantay nito? Not literally. Well, dapat naman talaga may nagbabantay, pero ang pinakabantay dyan ay dito sa seismogram ay may time indicated na or may naka-indicate na time. Para sa moment na gumalaw to, unang galaw, let's say for example, this is the normal movement, normal line. Okay? So, ang unang dumating is si primary wave. So, the moment na gumalaw na siya, makikita natin dito, which is 10:50. Okay? 10:50. So, unang galaw, at yung sumunod na mas malakas na galaw, so dito sa part na to, yan, this is the secondary wave. So, papaano malalaman kung ano yung difference nila? So, from the moment of primary wave, first point ng primary wave at first point ng secondary. So, the time difference there is 79 seconds. So, this one is halimbawa lang ito yung time. Pero, ang difference yan ay 79 seconds. So, that is how we determine the arrival time. The time difference between the arrival of primary and secondary wave is recorded on a seismogram at each location. Okay, halimbawa, each location yan. Okay? So, second, calculating distance. The arrival time difference is used to determine the distance of the epicenter from the station. Halimbawa, we have here 79 seconds. Ito yung nakuha natin. Okay? So, from 0 to 79 seconds, so we have here the 677 kilometer. Okay. So, yung 677 kilometer na to, ay yan yung distance from the epicenter to the station. Okay? So, ayan, halimbawa. And then, the third one is plotting distance. The distance from station is used to plot a circle on a map. At least 3 circles are needed to locate the epicenter. Okay? So, kung saan yung tatlong bilog na to ay magtatagpo, nandoon ang epicenter. Ito ang epicenter. Okay? So, that is how we find the epicenter. So, to sum up everything, we have here the things to ponder. First, epicenter, that is the point on the surface directly above the focus. Focus is the point within the Earth where the actual movement takes place. Third one, an earthquake epicenter can be located from records made by earthquake waves on devices called seismographs. So yung item kanina or yung nakita natin from seismogram, we called it as seismograph. The the wave record from a seismograph is known as seismogram. A typical seismogram of an earthquake has 3 wave pattern. The first wave to arrive are the P waves. Always remember, the first wave to arrive is the P wave. Kaya siya tinawag na primary kasi una. Push-pull, followed by S wave, secondary, shear and shake. Ibig sabihin, ng P wave, push-pull, parang ang movement niya, ganun lang. But the S wave, shear and shake, malakas na. Okay? And finally, the L waves or the long love. This investigation contains the speed seismograms from 3 different stations from an earthquake. Next. Each of these waves travel at different velocities or speed, even though they are generated simultaneously by an earthquake at the focus. The seismograph will detect P waves arriving the first, followed by S waves. The time difference as recorded on the clock between the P waves and S waves are called lag time. Okay? Three recording stations are required to find the location of the earthquake epicenter. Siyempre, yun yung sinasabi ko sa inyo kanina. Okay? Triangulation requires seismic data from three centers. Calculate the distance from each center using SP or secondary primary interval, and then distance will serve as the radius for a circle around the center. The location where the three circles overlap is triangulated. Okay, so that's all for this module number 3, week number 3. If you have any questions or clarification, you may ask me directly. And for your activity, you may also um, replay this video for you to understand more about the topic. Thank you.